Hey everyone, it's Armstrong here from Ada Miniatures, and today I wanted to do a little bit of different work, and instead of doing a full conversion I think about building some mm, scratch build engine or something of this manner. Yeah, so this is gonna be different, and not exactly a tutorial in a plastic art, but if you like to see how I build some of the cooler engines that I make, just stay tuned and keep on watching. And here we are on the table. Yeah, let's see. Just look through the tools we're gonna be using. It is a file. Yeah, any grade really works. Some creepers, some drill, and of course X-Acto knife. Yeah, I've been working with it today for half a day, and now I don't know where they displace it. And materials, plastic art. As well, I was thinking that miter box may be useful. So little miter box here, and a saw. Yeah. So I'm horrible at cutting straight lines. Everyone knows that. Yeah. So what I do, I just take a square. Yeah, and you can see that it can fit into the grooves in here, and then I can cut it somewhat straight with the miter box. I'm sorry about the shaking. Yeah, I would love to have actually a full, what do you call it? Instead of having this, empty, I would like to have it, just a solid block of plastic. And unfortunately, I don't have one like that. So I just need to make do with what I have. So I'm just gonna do the second cut. And I'm sorry about this noise. Yeah. It is just sound of metal on metal. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm gonna need the miter box and the saw for. And so then I just clean up the edge and get it ready for a glue. So next thing, I have my very thin plastic card because I want to close this off. Yeah. And I see that I didn't flatten it properly. There is still some small edge here. So now I'm just gonna do this. I just glue it into this plastic card and then cut it out and sand it. Okay, now I have this little block, and next thing, like I'm always saying that I don't know engines. I'm not a huge car man per se. Yeah, so I'm taking just half rod and I'm gonna glue two of them to the top of the engine block, just to have some different shape, really. And the only issue with plastic glue is this, that it is actually drying a little bit longer, which is a bonus and a minus. Yeah, it's a bonus because you have enough time to manipulate every single piece into place, and the minus because you have way too much time before it's dry. Yeah, and you can screw it up very, very easily. Okay, I have in here sharp blade, and of course, blades create the nippers, create the kind of well, when they cut, they create this shape that you have to get rid of. And a second one. Yeah, so this is just like If someone knows how to make how the engines actually look, how they work, they would be probably laughing at this what I'm building, yeah. But for me, it is only about visual interest. Yeah, so I have these two things on my engine block. This is quite soft still. So next thing, I usually just take a little bit of plastic card, yeah, and I add like something in here that I can put the wires from, and attach them to this. Yeah, so I want this to be roughly the same length. So yeah, much. It's okay. And something bigger, because I've seen a bigger chunk of plastic card in here somewhere. Okay, I don't see anything like that, but I usually try to as well make what do you call it, a accumulator, yeah. So this just attach to the side, and then I can drill 1 millimeter or smaller holes, 4 to 8 of them, and just connect wires to the top of the engine block. So I'm not very well prepared for such a close-up. Yeah, I have camera very close to my hands, and that's why I constantly cover the viewing port. Alright, I just want to soften this edge, so I'm just gonna add some more glue. It's gonna melt it a little bit and then allow it to soften. Yeah, I'm just gonna pull it back. You can see the mess on my desk, all of my cards as well, waiting to be converted. But that's why I'm building this engine. I want to prepare this for one of the future builds. Yeah. So now, some plastic rod. And I always add this kind of, to my engines at least, I add this kind of bottles on the side, which is supposed to be, I don't know, some sort of extra injection or whatever. Yeah. Like I said, I'm not an engine man. This is just, for me, it's pure imagining of what those parts are. Yeah. It's not knowledge of engines. My father was trying to teach me about cars, but I rather played with miniatures, so it never went into my head. Yeah, and the cars that my father was teaching me about are completely irrelevant today. Especially his old Fiat. So I'm just cutting this rod into smaller pieces. Come on. And you can round the tops up if you want to or something, but today I'm just gonna attach them to the side and hope that it's gonna hold. So one, and it doesn't hold. Wow, that's a disaster when you do stuff like that on the video and it just keep on falling from your hands. You want to show yourself as a professional, and then this happens. Okay, so yeah, this is gonna be like that, and now I have to give it about 5 minutes to dry before I'm gonna sand it flat. So I'll be right back. And here it is, slightly sanded, and you can see that it actually moved during the sanding, so I'm gonna have to sand it again after it dries properly. I didn't notice that before. Yeah, but this happens when you try to do stuff too early, when you're rushing a little bit. So as well, I created this little hex rod pieces here, and what I want them for is to add to the top of this makeshift battles. Yeah. And you know, not all of them are actually cut properly, so it's gonna be again a little bit of fussing around. Come on. Right. So just into the middle. Come on, stay. Professional YouTuber. Yeah. And 2, come on. It's sticking better to my blade than to my plastic card. And 3, be nice. All right. And here we have them. Yeah. That's how it looks from the profile. I can probably sand it a little bit after it dries. But I prepared a drill. This is the smallest one that I have. Well, it's probably a lie, I probably have a smaller one. And you know, now I can just start drilling holes into this. And hope that I ain't gonna move anything on this, on the other one. But I think that I'm gonna go with like 4 of them. So 1. Well, I could probably go with 8, but 2. 3 and 4, and you know, we are running into the same issue like always. Whenever I'm concentrating, I cannot speak, which is somewhat ridiculous. And, you know, with such a small elements, it's hard to work with them. And now I want to attach the wires that are going to be going out of this into this one. Yeah, so maybe spark, ignition, whatever you want to call that. Yeah. So I need to make another 4 holes. I'm actually tempted, you know, to just add the next 4 holes in here and have 8 and going to both sides. I think that that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, I hope that you can see what I'm doing in here. Just drilling holes for the wire that's going to be sticking out of them. Oh, wow, I went quite far. And the same I would want to do with this, you know, just drill 3 holes, but I need to wait for it to dry. You can see that by pushing I actually did destroy this plastic card. It was still wet from the glue and I bended it in. But actually this part of the engine is usually quite invisible on both sides, so there's no need to care about this. So I'm just gonna drill all of the holes and be right back. Okay, so now that we have all of the holes drilled, and I drilled extra 6 holes in here, yeah, I can start attaching the wire. And normally I would probably use a soldering wire, but I have none at hand, so I'm using this very fine plastic card wire. Yeah, and this is gonna be the most fiddly part of the entire process. Yeah, because I need to put it into one hole, then bend it into the right shape and stick it into the other hole. Come on. Okay, and you can see already that I'm losing patience with that process. I just, you know that I like easy builds, and this stuff is not very easy for me. So yeah, maybe a little bit less, because I constantly struggle with this little details, but the engine looks so much better when it have this, you know. I saw people who restore cars, you know, doing this to the engine, you know, having all of these little wires going around, and my poor scratch build engines didn't even compare. So yeah, I just gonna keep on doing that, fill up all of those gaps, and then just, you know, use a little bit of the plastic glue to hopefully seal it in. Actually, no, I'm gonna use a super glue, because plastic glue gonna melt the plastic, it's gonna start popping out, and super glue just gonna seal it in place. So advice for these little elements, you know, if you have the plastic, yeah, don't use plastic glue, use super glue, because plastic glue just gonna destroy your pieces. I know, because when I use the very thin plastic card and I need to bend it over some small area, it's better for me to use super glue than plastic glue, because like I said, plastic glue just melts it and it cracks. Yeah, so I will see you in a moment. So it was quite a journey to attach all of these wires. When I have them attached, and I decided against drilling those blocks. I started, but you know, in the middle I was like, nope, it doesn't work. So I decided against it. And why did I drill the holes in here? So I drilled the holes to glue inside a copper wire, and I want to leave about 1.5 centimeters of it every time I glue it in, so I can create exhaust for this engine. Yeah, and this is very simple, you know, I just glue it in, get some knackered cutters, and just cut off, like I said, about centimeters, maybe 1.5. Yeah, and this is the easiest part. Yeah, like with everything else I have to struggle at least a little bit, because it's plastic card. And with this, you know, it's just a copper wire that I stripped from some computer parts. Yeah, and like I said, normally I would use a soldering wire, but I don't have any at hand. I think that I ran out some time ago, and I still didn't resupply, so oopsie. And why soldering wire? It's better than paper clips, it's better than anything else, because it's bending very easily. That's why copper wire is such a good substitute, because copper wire again bends very easily. My only thing about copper wire, it's in my opinion a little bit more fragile. When soldering wire is, you know, you can bend it all the time and it ain't gonna break. Yeah. Alright, so there we go. 3 of those. And this is gonna be the front of the engine. So what I want to do, I want to bend it out from underneath the engine. And now I have to be careful when it comes to this side. And then I want to bend it backwards, you know, in one bunch. Yeah. So we have double exhausts. And to put it together, I just need a little tube. I think that this should be good enough to fit all 3 pieces together. Come on. Yes, perfect. So just cut 2 pieces of this tube, probably longer than I need. Yeah, so 1 and 2. And then with a little bit of super glue, just glue it on top of that. So dab of super glue inside. Just push it in. You can add some super glue from this side. The same on the other side. And there we have the exhausts for our engine added. Yeah, and this is probably, if someone knows engines, it's probably a complete mutant. Yeah, but for me it's something cool that I can add to my car. Yeah, and then of course, you know, like I said, this part is usually invisible because I would have some sort of radiator in front of it, and sometimes I even add a scoop on top, but for today this is it. So if you like this video, yeah, and you learn anything from that, please rate, comment, subscribe. And if you didn't, of course, subscribe to me, as 50% of you don't, well, more than 50%, yeah, please do so. You know, maybe I earn your subscription today, yeah, or in not too far future, I hope. Yeah, and I ain't gonna be throwing this on the spin table because it's just too small. So this is it for today. So everybody have a lovely day and take care.